Hello and welcome back to My Mom's Basement, ladies and gentlemen. It is Robbie Fox and I'm here with Carlos Silva, the TNA President, ahead of Slammiversary, a huge Slammiversary coming up at UBS Arena, July 20th. And I want to start there. I want to start at Slammiversary. A lot of people are saying TNA is back in arenas, back in a huge arena in UBS Arena. Did you come up with the decision to put Slammiversary there? Was that like your idea?
Actually, no. I inherited it when I joined, but we had an interesting connection because you all may know the name John Ledecky, who's the owner of the Islanders. John's a big DC sports guy, the uncle of Katie Ledecky, the most famous swimmer on the planet. And so I sort of knew John from a lot of the people that I knew in and around the Washington sports scene. And so came up, spent some time with him very early, literally a couple of weeks after I joined. We talked about how important UBS was for us, how excited they were to bring pro wrestling to UBS. I mean, it's a beautiful arena if you haven't been there.
It's great.
And we did a promo during the Islanders game with Joe Henry and a few others. That was amazing. And so, yeah, we're excited about it. It's going to be a great arena for us.
I'm a Rangers fan myself, so, you know, there's a little bit of contention there, but it is a great arena, great for wrestling. I'm very excited for Slammiversary. And then I want to kind of go back to the beginning with you as the TNA president. I know you from World Series of Fighting back in the day, but for those that don't know, how did you become TNA president?
Yeah, it's a great question because, you know, as your career meanders around, I knew Anthem Sports a little bit because going back to the World Series of Fighting days, they were our distributor of our show, our live events on the Fight Network, which is another property that we run in AOL Sports, in Anthem Sports. Apologize, AOL Sports is going way back in Anthem Sports, and so I knew them a little bit. I knew Leonard Asper, the chairman CEO of Anthem Sports and Entertainment, because of that, and we had sort of crossed paths a number of times. And when they were starting to look for a new president, we had some common connections. You may know the name Rick Alessandri, who was years and years at ESPN, good friend. Rick had actually placed me in some other organizations. And so he gave me a call and he said, you know, do you know these guys? I said, of course I know them. Super interested. Look, I think wrestling's in a great moment in time. And I think I've done a pretty good job in my career of maybe taking advantage of that a little bit. And jumped in very end of December, really early January because of the holidays. And it's been a great 6 months. And UBS is like the cornerstone of what we've been building to during those 6 months to really go and make Slammiversary our hit for the year.
Yeah. And what was like your wrestling fandom or background before coming to TNA wrestling? Are you a lifelong wrestling fan or are you just getting into it now?
No, I'm really not. And I think I was more of a casual fan around the different heydays of wrestling, you know, whether it was, you know, going back in the day into like the Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant times a fan, you know, whether it was during the Goldberg times, you know, you sort of, you get sucked in as a fan, but no, I wasn't really a week to week, day to day kind of a fan. And I think being in the sports and entertainment business, though, you become into being a fan of all of the sports and entertainment properties as each of these properties change hands and grow. Actually got called many a time on some opportunities at WWE over the years. And so look, when this one came up, I thought it was a great way to use everything that I've done in sports and entertainment and try and take what had already been the beginning of a reinvigoration of TNA and then keep growing it. And I think so far so good. And Slammiversary is certainly shaping up to be like the top of that really sort of sets us off for the rest of this year and next year.
Absolutely. Who are the like wrestling minds that you lean on if you need an answer to a very wrestling specific question?
Yeah, it's a good question. Probably my creative team mostly. You know, Tommy Dreamer, Hunter, and Eric. Really, you know, Eric Tompkins has been at TNA for, I think, going on 18 years now. He's been around for a long time, so he's got a lot of history and, you know, really helps us put the Impact show together on a weekly basis. And then, you know, Tommy with his amazing career and sort of his inside the ropes kind of view that he can give me. And then Hunter's he's just a great writer and has really invigorated our writing. And so I think that combination of those three on the really core wrestling pieces. We've also got, a great PR guy in Ross Foreman, and Ross has been around TNA for been around wrestling longer than all of us. And so all of them help guide me in and around my sort of sports and entertainment brand to bring that wrestling knowledge that, you do pick up on it quickly. You get embedded in this, you jump into the water very quickly and you start to learn.
Start speaking that language.
But having them there to lean on is super helpful.
Yeah. What's the biggest, like, oh my God, or holy shit moment that's been eye-opening since you've become TNA president? It could even be like a match that blew you away, or a moment that you were like, wow, I'm in the shit now.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it probably, we were in Dallas back in February or March. It was still early as I was sort of getting my sea legs and really seeing how things were going. About an hour and a half before the arena opened, it was about 35 or 40 degrees in Dallas. It was kind of a bad day for Dallas. And there was 4,000 fans outside waiting to come in. And I remember talking to my colleague, Riley, who helps me with so many things. I just said to her, I mean, we helped paper a lot of arenas back in the World Series of Fighting days, even the early PFL days here in New York City. It's not easy to get fans into arenas, as you know, Robbie. And I was just blown away by the level of fandom. I don't think I had really seen it probably since my early NASCAR days that I was in the middle of when I ran the AOL team for NASCAR. And you saw that crazy fandom that is just so passionate and so happy to just be around the event. Mm-hmm. And it warmed my heart to see it. And I've really gotten into that and enjoyed how much the fans enjoy the product.
Is that an instant, like, almost chasing the dragon thing? You get a rabid 4,000 crowd, they're deep, and it's just like, all right, we got to do this again and again and again.
Oh yeah. Well, like anything, you do it once and then you just, if we have an arena that is less than that, it like bums you out.
Yeah.
And look, and then at the end of the night, you have these meet and greets, and you've got the Hardys, or you've got Joe Hendry, or you've got Masha or Tessa, and they're there for an hour, for 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours. Mm-hmm. I remember in Las Vegas, we got a little late with the meet and greets, and I think the Hardys were there for 3 hours. And you know what? Yeah. That last fan at the end of the 3 hours, they got the same treatment, the same smiles, pictures, congratulations. So nice to meet you from the Hardys, because they're amazing at what they do.
Yeah, that's friggin' awesome.
Yeah.
And then how did the partnership with WWE really come about and kind of develop with TNA? Because recently there's been a lot of crossover. Obviously, Joe Hendry appears with the TNA World Championship at WrestleMania. And then something like even Trick Williams beating Joe Hendry for the TNA title on a WWE show. How does all of that develop?
It's developed well.
Yeah.
I mean, the partnership, I think we've really raised the level of working together, which has been a lot of fun. And I think it did start, it started really with Royal Rumble when Joe was part of that. It was a surprise there. And then with him being the surprise, Randy opponent at WrestleMania, we were actually there in the stadium, 70,000 screaming fans at, Vegas Stadium, which is awesome. I think it was just the beginning of it. And we've just continued to cultivate how we want to work together, or how we want to move things up and down and even sideways in the case of AAA, who we're working with as well. We were just down in Mexico 2 weeks ago for Triple Mania, and that was awesome too. Mm-hmm. And it's just been great working with everyone, whether it's working with Shawn Michaels and Johnny down at NXT on a weekly basis, and including Nick and Paul on the WWE side. They've just been very supportive of what we do to continue to bring surprises and new storylines to the fans. And I think it's working really well.
Say something like the TNA World Championship getting dropped on NXT. Are you working more and dealing more when talking about that with Shawn, or with is that like a Hunter and Nick decision? Or not decision, but something in their wheelhouse.
It's all, but we do deal directly with Shawn and Johnny at NXT. As you've seen over the last couple of weeks on the CW, every show, including last night, has featured something building towards Slammiversary. And then you get some really great things, like you have WWE on social media posting it and saying, TNA Slammiversary coming July 20th. You couldn't ask for a better partner to put all that together to drive us to this three-way match between, Trick and Santana and Joe. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great main event.
When you were at WrestleMania, obviously to support Joe Hendry, amazing moment. Was anyone in the crowd kind of putting it together? Like, did you get any like, is something happening tonight?
Well, yeah, I mean, I walked in and it's kind of been my thing. I usually have a TNA hat on,
yep.
and so yeah, I got a few. I think I ran into Chris Van Vliet, and he immediately looked at me and he was like, "Why are you in the first or second row? This is a little funny."
Yeah.
So yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, there was a lot around, getting Joe to the arena and making sure that, nobody knew that Joe was going to be the surprise, and how we got him there, working together and getting him in a car and getting him backstage and everything. It was really cool.
Was that your first time seeing kind of the secrecy of wrestling, like that level of it, at least?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and also, I mean, having been involved in some of the biggest events on the planet, throughout the last 25 years, you do understand that, it's an important show, and you've got to hit your marks on all of these things. But yeah, it was great to kind of see how the importance of the surprise and the reveal.
Yeah,
we've done it many times. Whether I mean, even going back to my AOL days where we did the Super Bowl halftime show with Janet Jackson, and we all know what happened there in a
you were involved in that? Not involved, but
I was the digital executive producer for that show. So that was the biggest halftime show maybe ever.
Maybe,
so yeah, you understand these big moments, and we just took the lead from WWE and what they wanted to do and worked with them as good partners.
Did you work on more than one halftime show?
No, I just worked on that one.
Just that one.
That
yeah.
one was enough.
That is enough. Yeah,
that was a good one. Yeah.
What is, in your experience so far, what's something that goes on behind the scenes that you feel fans kind of get all wrong?
I don't know. I don't know that there's, I mean, look, fans, when if you follow on social media, fans swing the pendulum so far to the left and so far to the right in one post to the next that you can't, you can't really get upset with it. I mean, to me, I sort of celebrate that they're so far to the left and so far to the right on any particular item, whether it's that they're pissed off that Trick has got our belt right now, to that they know exactly who's going to win the belt next. And I just read it every morning and I kind of enjoy it and know that that's the beauty of what we're doing, is when the fans are literally all over the place.
But you enjoy reading it all, and you enjoy kind of like seeing what
I enjoy that
is.
They're having a good time speculating and having a great time with it. I mean, look, it's the same in sports and entertainment overall. I mean, it's no different, being in the middle of this, us talking about an NFL game on a Sunday and everyone's speculating whether someone's injured or not injured, or how are they going to go, or what's their game plan. And that's what it's all about. It's that lead up to then the big moment. And the nice thing about the big moment is, we got some great partners now to celebrate the big moments in, as we do this together, driving into Slammiversary.
The wrestling fans really do love the politics of it all, and not like the backstage politics, more than I would even say like other sports where it's correct. Everyone's talking about injury reports and what's going to happen and stuff. But there is something like wrestling fans they can't get enough of the stuff they're not supposed to know.
Correct.
They crave it so much.
Crave,
and I'm guilty of it myself. You know, it's like you want to know all of the nitty gritty behind the scenes details. And then sometimes you find out and you're like, I wish I didn't know that. Like, I wish I kept it a mystique for myself a little bit.
I'd say, the only thing maybe that's competing, and it's similar now, if you saw this morning, Christian Horner got fired from Red Bull Formula One team as the team principal. And so, like, because of Drive to Survive, I think there's a similar, I think Formula One has taken a page out of pro wrestling and started to bring that drama of what's happening in the pits and everything to their shows. But I don't think anyone, having been from the Olympics to Super Bowls to Final Fours to, World Cups and everything in between, I don't think anyone does it better than pro wrestling. I really don't.
And it seems like even maybe wrestling is being now influenced by the F1 stuff, with obviously WWE is doing the show with the writer's room and stuff like that. That's another thing where I'm like, I want to know what happens, but do I want to know what happens? Right. It's like a give and pull. Have you thought about doing something similar? I know you're talking about TV rights for TNA right now, media rights, like a behind the scenes type look at TNA?
We haven't really gone, I don't think yet we have the luxury of kind of going to that level right now, but I think we're starting to tease it a little bit. maybe you've seen over these last couple of weeks, we're starting to hand out these weekly awards called the TNA All-Star.
Yep.
And we're doing that, sort of in our locker room, depending on what venue that we're in or what city we're in. And we're bringing a little sneak peek and sort of what I'd call a live look in for the fans. I've always been a big fan of, for all of us, we all get credentialed and get to go places. We get to go behind the ropes. We get to go into the ring. We get to go backstage. A lot of fans don't. And so if we can bring a little bit of that to them, I think it helps them celebrate, the shows and celebrate the promotion and what we're trying to do. So we're continuing to do a little bit more of that.
And I saw you said yesterday that we should be expecting like a media rights deal or a new deal pretty soon, right? And did you say in the next 60 days maybe?
It could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be 60 days from now. We're right in the middle of it.
Okay.
And I only say that because whenever, Robbie, you want to do these things, they always take a little longer than you want to. I mean, I would have loved to come on the show today and tell you about a couple of different deals that we're working on, but the media rights deal is going to take a little longer, but I feel really good about it. We've got a lot of interest, and I think it's because the product is really going gangbusters. I mean, the team has done a great job of improving the fit and finish, the quality, the energy, all of it, from venue to ticket sales to merchandise to the talent to being live more often than we were before, which I think the talent really responds to. I think all of those things have helped, and they'll ultimately help with our distribution deal for sure.
Yeah. And then I've also seen some fans speculating or maybe even just hoping that the WWE could license some of the media library for something like, say, an AJ Styles documentary. If you wanted to do a full look at AJ Styles and include the TNA years, the WWE years, has there ever been discussions about that as well?
No discussions, but I mean, we're doing that in a small way now with footage and exchanging footage. I mean, if you saw Nick Nemeth and Jeff wrestled, back a couple months ago, and we called up WWE and said, could we have the footage from, I think it was 2009, maybe it was 2007, I can't remember which. And they sent it over. We put it into a package. It was part of our show, and we got to see a younger Nick and a younger Jeff wrestle before they had wrestled again. So I think all of that's in play, and everyone's very open about continuing to sort of raise the profile for TNA around things like that.
And do you think we'll ever see Carlos Silva taking bumps on screen? Will we ever see you in ring, on screen character?
It's not part of the plan, right? I'm just right now the biggest part of the character I've been is being who I am, which is the president of TNA, ringside, supporting or doing whatever I need to do support. But I guess, you never say never with these things.
Yeah. Do you have, I know this is a tough question to answer as the president of the company. It's like picking your favorite child, but do you have favorite matches that you've watched in the crowd?
Look, I mean, when you have legends like the Hardys and not being a lifelong wrestling fan, it literally takes you, if you're a sports and entertainment fan like I am, it only takes to see one match with the Hardys in the ring to know like the quality of what they do. We have a lot of that. I mean, we enjoy guys like the Hardys or Nick Nemeth, or Moose that are maybe on the end of their careers. And then we also enjoy some young guys like Leon or Masha that are in the early parts of their career. And you'll see them. I mean, I've even seen the difference in Leon in the last 6 months since I've been here. And I think some of that is because maybe what Matt is doing with him to sort of coach him up too. And so I don't know that I have a favorite match. I kind of enjoy seeing the development of the younger, folks on the team, and then seeing the quality. And as I like to, sort of my phrase I've always used in my life is fit and finish. The fit and finish that they've got around every little piece and how it all comes together to create, such high quality showmanship.
Yeah, and that Hardy's ladder match we've got for Slammiversary is going to be
great.
Crazy. Yeah, it's going to be absolute scenes. And then finally, where do you see TNA wrestling in 5 to 10 years?
I could never predict 10 years. I've always looked out 3 to 5 years in all the different properties that I've worked on. I think with the changing media landscape, I think I've been involved in the middle of some of the biggest changes in the media landscape over the last 25 years. We are so deep in the biggest one that we've seen in a long time. I mean, it's just being blown apart at the seams. I think TNA is going to be in the middle of that reinvention of the media landscape. I think we're already we're in the major leagues. WWE and NXT, AEW, and TNA. And I think that is the major leagues. If you're in any other wrestling organization, if you're in all the indies, that's where you're going to aspire to get. And it's okay. Everyone wants to get into the NFL, the same that everyone wants to get into WWE. But with properties like AEW that are doing that as well, and TNA, we can develop new talent like a Joe Hendry, and we can also reinvigorate talent. So I think in the next 3 to 5 years, you'll continue to see us to be in the major leagues and continue to grow as a brand.
Awesome. I love it. Slammiversary, July 20th, UBS Arena. Everyone look out for it. I'll be there. Very excited.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing you there. Thank you, Robbie.
Thank you, Carlos.
See you soon.